Welcome back to Talkville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast, where each week we go back, way back, and we, for me, it's refreshing, I guess, because I've never seen the episodes. It's
Is that
fun
what you'd
to
call
discuss.
it? Refreshing?
Refreshing. We've got Tom Welling here. We've got Ryan Tejas. We've got Bryce behind the scenes, just hearing his voice, taking care of his new twin kids, Twids. And, very exciting episode today. Very exciting. Plugging Patreon, of course, because without you guys, we couldn't do this show. So if you want it to continue, you are the reason. Go to patreon.com/talkville, become a patron today, and support the podcast. Anything you give is it just helps the show. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you didn't get a chance to call into our hotline and leave a question for this episode, make sure you do it for future ones. All that info and more is down in the show's description. You can go to my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum, and my link tree has cameos, has conventions that Tom and I are going to be at. We're going to be at, got the Smallville Con coming up in October. Tickets are selling.
That's going to be huge. And then we're almost done finalizing the cruise next June, the Smallville cruise.
Is that going to happen?
Yeah, it's getting
no
there.
One's talked to me about it.
So everybody, I'll be going on a cruise.
I haven't heard about it. I've heard Tom mention it, but I haven't. So, hey, we'll see. I don't know how I would do on a cruise, but if it's the right setup, I think it could be fun. Well, let's see what happens. Also, the talkvillepodcast.com, you can get awesome merch, and the Inside of You online store. We've got LEXMAS scripts you can have autographed. They're available. Tumblers, lots of Smallville keys and other stuff. So go there, Smallville lunchboxes. And two quick things, Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath right here. This little bottle, a cap full in your dog's bowl, and it's odorless, tasteless, and your dogs will have great breath. I give it to my dog every day. My picture's on there. So, hopefully you'll get that.
Ryan, I don't know if I asked you. Ryan, I don't know if I've asked you before, but have you tried it on yourself? Is it safe for humans?
I would.
The Puppy Fresh Breath. When they were doing the clinical trials, I was asked to be a part of them and test it out. And so I don't know if I signed an NDA.
It really works, though. I'll be honest
with
you. I use it every day with my dogs, and their breath is so much better when I kiss them, and I kiss my dogs a lot. Last but not least, this book is out in October. They're pre-ordering. You can pre-order it now. It's The Talented Farter by yours truly. I sent one to Tom, and they're amazing. The illustrations are beautiful. Great for your kid. It's about a kid whose only talent is farting. And here's this fart alarm that wakes him up. It's a real treat. Get it on pre-order. The Talented Farter. You can go on my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum, get it too. So very pumped up about that. Lots of great stuff going on. Yeah, Tom, you've got something to promote.
Well, I do. I just found out that I have a movie called Mafia Wars.
Ooh.
It comes out October 11th. So check that out. I play a good cop doing bad things in the underground of the Rome Mafia. So check that out. I'm really proud of it. It's a lot of action.
Okay. Well, look for it.
To be honest.
Without further ado, let's get into season 5, episode 9. This is LEXMAS. Yes. Okay. So title LEXMAS aired December 8th, 2000. Ryan.
What's up?
I noticed you're wearing a Santa's hat.
I'm celebrating. We got to get into the spirit. I know this is coming out not during Christmas time, but we got to get in the spirit.
I really appreciate that, Ryan. I think that's very festive of you.
Thank you.
I did too. And listen, this has got to be one of the top 7 shows that we ever did.
It is great. It's a great episode, I have to say. I was touched. I just felt like this was very unique for Smallville, and it's like what could have been show. If we were watching a different show and Lex might have gone down a better path, and people believed in him and he believed in himself, he could have had a certain life. But we'll get into it.
Lex always believes in himself. I mean, that's no question. But what I love about this episode is that every moment counted. And those are my favorite episodes where there's no wasted things just to explain why Clark is running somewhere. I mean, this is, I was joking before, this is literally top 4.
Yeah, it's a great episode.
You're great in it. The whole thing is great. I watched it twice and I enjoyed it even better the second time.
You know, Rick Rosenthal directed this. He directed Halloween 2. He directed Bad Boys with Sean Penn. Tom and I learned a lot from Rick, and we hadn't directed at this point. And I don't believe, or maybe we direct at this point?
I don't think so.
No, but Rick kind of motivated us and inspired us to direct. And he would say, all right, I want you to go and I want you to write a shot list of what you would do in this scene. And we would do it. And we learned it was like a film course, like a crash course in filmmaking. And we paid a lot of attention. And I think Rick is a great director. And it showed, you know, definitely it showed in this episode. Writers Holly Harold, first episode of the season. Guest star Kenneth Welsh as Santa Claus, who's awesome. Allison Down as Lillian Luthor, awesome. Adrian Holmes as Griff, very good job there, my friend. Synopsis: a life-threatening injury causes Lex Luthor to live an alternate life and allows him to choose which destiny he wants to pursue when he returns to reality. The show gets off in a bang. I remember shooting downtown, and the set design was great. It just looked almost like Gotham City or a part of a big city, and it was dark and it was beautifully lit up, and I really enjoyed it.
This episode opens with Lex spending the holidays being naughty as he attempts to get dirt on Jonathan Kent's political campaign during Christmas Eve. After Lex talks with Griff about planting damning evidence, he heads to his car. Before he can get in, he's mugged at gunpoint. One of the robbers gets trigger happy and decides to pop a cap in his ass and in his shoulder twice.
Why? You kind of look at that and you're like, why did she shoot him? And what a bastard. But
what I thought of when I saw this? I saw this as what they've always done with Batman, seeing him losing his parents, like the alleyway, the mugging gone wrong sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I think there must have been some version of a parallel here.
Yeah, things fade to black. And suddenly Lex wakes up in a dream state next to Lana laying in bed. Their son Alex wakes them up. And what's more, Lana has another bun in the oven. The billionaire playboy is now a suburban dad. Lex tries to regain his composure in the bathroom, but instead he has a conversation with his guardian devil, his mother Lillian, the same one who killed Julian. She tells him that this is real and all this can be his if he makes the right choices.
Did anyone think that the kid looked a lot like Clark? Just saying.
Yeah, more like Clark. Yeah, it was. I remember shooting this scene, and I was kind of in the mindset of like I didn't really know how to act, and it fit because Lex didn't know how to act, and so I didn't like. I was in these positions, and I'm like, okay, I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans, and I'm like, I'm in bed with Lana, and I've got a kid. It's like you just sort of go, what the F is going on? And it was fun watching everything kind of go on around me and just sort of be there and sort of going through the motions and going, here I am in this position here. What am I going to do? What do I say? I can't tell her that this is not real, or I just went with it.
I also think that Kristen picked up on that because she kind of keeps her character just kind of moving. So I'm like, kind of being like, oh, Lex, you're so cute. And she just kind of kept it going. So it all revolves around her. She keeps it going, which allows you to just observe and sort of try to be
there was an sort of out of improvised line where I go, what the and they cut. But they kept it because it was really that's how I felt. Like what the fuck is going on here? And they kept it. But yeah, it was a trip.
Back at the Kents' wholesome Christmas Eve, Martha is baking cookies and Clark is decorating the tree. As Lana thanks him for allowing her to ditch Aunt Nell this year, Clark gets a panicked call from Chloe asking for his help.
And back in Dreamland, Lex heads out to a Christmas tree farm with his son and continues to learn new information, including what a budget is. As the two Alexes shop for trees, they run into Clark and Chloe, learning that Lex is working alongside Chloe on a Luthor Corp expose. It was just really, it was so nice seeing everyone look at Lex like he's a good guy for the first time. Like, hey, buddy, how's it going, man? Like treating him like a human being, treating him like a friend, treating him like somebody who does good in the community. And it was odd to watch. It was odd to be a part of, but it was cool, and it was kind of sad, and it made you feel happy, like, oh man, this could have been, or maybe this could be. And we know what happens.
Well, I got to say one of my favorite parts, and I know, Bryce, you can attest to this, seeing Lex throw that car seat in there really made me laugh, because when you've been there, it's a thing. So that was a good moment.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like is when the kid burps and I turn around and laugh. I wish he would have farted. That's the only thing I wanted, was like a and I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's probably a conversation with the FCC, though. I think a burp is more.
Yeah, maybe. But it was cute. It was cute. And, the kid was pleasant to work with. And it was really the first time Lana and I got to really work together. And it was amazing because we had such a great time, great chemistry, and we just really enjoyed each other. It was so much fun.
Back to life, back to reality.
Back to life.
Lionel visits Smallville Medical and learns that his son is now crossing over franchises and is going to be Professor X, meaning that he will be paralyzed from the neck down. Lionel tells Dr. Scanlon that he doesn't want a crippled son and begins calling another outside doctor to arrange for Lex's transfer to a Metropolis hospital.
It shows you, like, what a bastard Lionel really is. Mm-hmm. Like, he can't have a son that's a crippled. You can't even use that word anymore, but disabled. Mm-hmm. You can't. Like, I can't look at you. I could barely look at you now, and I'm not going to look at you if you're disabled. Like, I'm not going to love you for who you are. I want you to be, you're either going to be this or nothing.
Well, then, because it also, like, Lex is also his main competition. So if his competition is in a wheelchair, then that sort of makes him feel like, it doesn't feel like an even playing field anymore. I think he likes the challenge, and I think he likes to.
I never thought that.
I think, like, he likes to have an adversary. He doesn't he doesn't want to love Lex. He wants him to be like an equal, so that they can
feel sorry for him,
because they do so much fencing in the show together. It's like they just want to spar.
Yeah, you can't fence it. Well, you can fence in a wheelchair. When Clark gets to the Daily Planet, he's surprised by Chloe's request for help, as she wants him to basically play Santa and help deliver toys to children because Teamsters went on strike. While the task seems implausible, the good news is that Chloe has map quested the path for Clark. Clark heads out, committing breaking and enterings throughout Metropolis as the new and improved Santa. At one house, he sees a drunk Santa dangerously close to a building edge, so he heads over to talk down St. Nick. I actually thought I was going to hate this, and I loved it. I loved the whole Santa thing, and he was really good. Like, the guy who played Santa Claus is really good, and I kind of liked this part of it. It was just like, I appreciated it. And normally I think
really, if without that scene, you're just running around with a bunch of Christmas lights and trees. With that scene with Santa, it brings in a little more of the holiday spirit.
Yeah.
What it should be, or what you want it to be. It was a great scene.
Yeah, I loved it.
I mean, the whole time Chloe was talking to Clark, like, within 2 lines, I was like, oh, they're just teeing up Clark to be Santa Claus. I knew it was happening. Like, 2 lines into the scene, I was like, I'm great. I love it. Like, why not?
Let's do it.
Let's show him zipping around. Like, he's a good guy, and, like, he wants to give kids the presents. Like, this is so a Clark thing to do, and he would love to do this.
Back in Dreamland, Lex returns home with a gigantic tree. Lana asks if he caved into their son's demands again, but Lex says no, it's because his mother died and he wants to rekindle the Christmas spirit. Lex learns more about his disappointing departure from Luthor Corp, and Lana tells him that, much like 50 Cent, getting shot was the best thing that ever happened to him.
Back in Metropolis, Clark successfully talks down Santa after he learns that Clark is helping deliver gifts to children. That is until Santa loses his footing and falls from the roof. Clark superspeeds down the side of the building to catch him before he goes Humpty Dumpty.
I do remember that he was interesting enough where I just had to listen to him. Like, he was very good at what he was doing. It wasn't like, I didn't have to, like, do anything but what Clark was doing, and that's always the best situation to be in for me as an actor, where you just have to listen and be like, hey, okay, I hear you. Just kind of take it easy, buddy. And he just had his own thing going on, and then catching him, I think was a lot of times what happens is you hold someone and they kind of count down 3, 2, 1, and you kind of lift them up just like a couple inches, and then you kind of like, oh, I caught you, and then the scene continues. It's a lot of times what we did.
Now, he was heavy, right? So, I mean, did they have wires on him, or you just held him?
I think the fall was on wires, but the actual shot of me catching him, I think, was probably me.
You carried him.
He just passed away in 2022.
Oh,
that actor.
No. He just died, that actor. God bless him.
80.
He did a great job.
He's done a lot of things. Day After Tomorrow, Miracle, Twin Peaks.
Wow.
And Santa Claus.
And Santa Claus in Smallville.
I do like that look for a Santa Claus where they have like it's like a smaller beard and like it's like a little bit more worn suit. It's not as like it's like a wizened Santa. I don't know.
Interesting. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We talk about BetterHelp all the time and how important therapy is. We let things bottle up and we think we can handle things, but we can't because we're human beings. And talking to someone truly helps, and it's helped millions of people across the country. Look, as an adult, do you make it a point to carve out time to learn new things as often as you'd like? Or is day-to-day life so busy you feel you'll never recapture that sense of childhood wonder? Kids are always learning and growing, but as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity.
What's something you'd like to learn? Gardening, a new language, or maybe how to beat your best friend at bowling?
Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back-to-school era can come at any age. Therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself.
And it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. Therapy is for everyone. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online.
Designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, you just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist at any time, no additional charge. I know some people say, what if I don't like my therapist? Well, you change your therapist just like that. It's so easy. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/talkville today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Talkville.
Back in Dreamville, the Luthors attend the annual Kent Christmas party. For the first time ever, Senator Jonathan Kent shows love towards Lex and even goes on to gift him a Kansas Humanitarian Award. Jonathan goes on to announce this award to the entire party and claim that Lex is the finest man he knows.
I mean, that's just... The look on Lex's face was he was just baffled, just taken aback. It
was so awkward.
So awkward and so like, what? Who are you?
Clark and Lex meet on the porch to discuss his wonderful life and being Eskimo brothers to Lana.
I like this scene with us. I really felt it. Like, just the things, I forgot exactly what we were talking about, but sort of life and like, I didn't expect this would happen to you and Lana. Well, no, it just didn't work out, Lex. And you were the best man, and she deserves that, and blah blah blah. And it was just like, I was aghast,
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of, because of the nature of this episode, and it's so good, and Lex is so sort of fish out of water? Do you have any memories of your own self being a little different on set?
Yeah.
Listen. You love to have a good time on set, but when the camera rolls, you're locked in like that. We've established that. But on this one, did you find yourself being a little more to yourself in between takes or anything like that?
I think it was very important to me to show another side, to show more of a vulnerability, to show more of affection, to show an innocence that we never get to see. A lost innocence, maybe. And I wanted, as an actor, you think, okay, I want to crush this, and I want people to say, wow, look, he played this, and he normally plays this. So we get to see.
Look at all the different things he can do.
Yeah, there was part of that. And there was part of just like being vulnerable and real and, playing this like this is the best dream I've ever had, and I don't want it to end kind of thing.
Well, yeah, that's really interesting because normally, like when the camera's cut, you're like, what, jovial, happy, everyone loves you. Then, camera's rolling, people are against you. But this time it was almost like there was no difference between action and cut, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, what I was going to say is the other actors also have some heavy lifting because they have to then believe that you are something which they know that you're not and the actual Lex is not. You know what I mean? So like when Jonathan Kent's talking to you, like we both know John Schneider, he's really got to turn it on for himself to believe in what the audience wants you to be.
Yeah.
And so it's like, they all had to do it. Kristen had to do it. Annette gives you a kiss on the mouth. There's a lot of little things.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, this is the situation. Lex is good. Everybody act to that. There's no...
Yeah.
There's no subconscious of we know he's bad. This is a good Lex. We know who this guy is. play it that way. So everybody had to change it up.
What I see a common theme through it is the way everybody looks at Lex in this alternate universe is everyone's so proud of Lex, which I think is cool.
And
they're not just like, oh, hey, buddy, you're a nice guy. Everyone is so proud of him. And that's nothing that Lex ever gets in the real world.
No one's ever proud of him.
Yeah.
Martha interrupts to let them know that Lana is going into labor. And as the Luthors celebrate new life in one hospital room, the hospital room in the real world is frantically trying to save Lex's life. Tragically, Lana begins having complications and starts hemorrhaging. The doctors are unsure how to stop it, so Lex heads to the Luthor mansion to ask his father for a Christmas miracle. Lionel plays Scrooge and gifts him instead with an egg in his shoe. He scolds his son for turning his back on Luthor Corp and disowns him and his grandson.
What kind of occurred to me in that scene, about 3/4 of the way through that, this is what Jor-El would do to Clark if he asked for something.
This is what you've chosen to do.
The first time I watched it, but the second time.
Yeah, but you're thinking, his wife is dying, and
it's horrible.
It's like the Ebenezer Scrooge, like the opening. It's like, no, I'm not going to help you. No, I'm not going to do this for you.
The other thing that caught my eye is if you watch the scene again, the blue sort of blurry light throughout is the same light that you see in the Fortress of Solitude when Clark talks to
And
Jor-El.
I also loved Lionel when he looks at him and goes, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God, this guy is a monster. And really, it's twofold. Lex eventually, turns dark here because, the love of his life. If this is the life he could have, I don't really blame him that he loses Lana and his father tells him, I'm not helping you with your wife. It makes him feel like, this wasn't reality. This wasn't real.
There's something in this where I think because of this scene, Lex somehow realizes the only way to make a difference is to have all the power because no one else is going to help you.
Yeah. The only
and it's
way,
all because of this
he's like,
scene
the only way
situation.
You can do this, get through life, is to have power. Power and
to
money.
control everything.
That's what he thinks.
Lex heads back to Lana, who is fading quickly. He tells Lana that he has always loved her before she takes her final breath. After this, Lex gets emotional talking to his mother about how everyone he has ever loved has died.
I didn't exactly know where to go, how emotional, and I internalized a lot. I remember just sitting there and going, I like this is the dream that I always had, and it's how could this happen? It's like everything you've always wanted is right there in front of you, and then it's taken from you. So it was pretty.
I also think that we talked about him before, and you and I are big fans, as we said, but having somebody like Rick there while you're doing a scene like that is like extremely helpful because you can he's there to help you, and he's got such a great.
Yeah, I felt that.
He looks like a gentle Santa Claus who likes to hike mountains.
Saint Rick.
You know what I mean? He's very
Saint Rick Rosenthal.
Saint Rick.
Do it again, Michael. I loved it. Be more emotional. Shut up.
Back in Metropolis, Chloe gets a visit from the real Santa Claus. He shares what he learned about Clark and offers to lend a helping hand. As she turns away, he and all the presents disappear. Did Santa come down with the meteors?
What's he talking about?
Please, can you elaborate?
Maybe he's like the freak of the week. Maybe it was Santa Claus. You know what I mean?
Is he Jor-El? Is he Jor-El?
No, I'm like, what
you
if
really
he's like bug? I don't know. I'm trying to justify Santa Claus in Smallville.
I think it's just part of the fantasy, part of the like all this Christmas stuff and all this of what
everyone's high on PCP.
Well, I just think it's like a world that doesn't exist that, maybe it could have. I don't know. I don't know.
I thought maybe Santa was freak
I
of the
think
week.
Santa's like, let me find the one small town they're filming a TV show in. Oh yeah, it's Smallville. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get on TV.
Lex wakes up in the real world. Lionel has saved his life. Instead of being overjoyed with a new lease on life, Lex is somewhat despondent and upset that Lionel proceeded with dangerous surgery. He scolds his father for playing God. A new darkness seems to have set over Lex. He calls Griffin to enlist his help in getting dirt on Jonathan Kent because he wants to go full Scarface and attain ultimate money and power. I thought it was great. It was a great moment, and with his mom in the reflection behind him, and then how she disappears with the snow, and it's like all hope is gone. Like this was the one chance, And he's like, this is the world I'm supposed to live in. I'm supposed to live in this world where my wife dies. I'm supposed to live in this world where, it's like, I don't want any part of that.
Do you think he also realizes after all these like visions of the alternate universe that like it's inevitable, like his turn?
Yeah, he's maybe.
No matter how happy he's allowed to be, he will inevitably become this person.
I think what he thinks at this moment is it's not possible for me to get what I want. It's not possible for me to be adored or loved, or it's not possible for me to be the good guy that I really wanted to be. I've made a decision that the only way I can succeed is if I look after my own ass. And that's a sad.
I mean, with that said, this makes this like one of the most important episodes of the entire series, right? Like this is the turning point for Lex. Everything else is like, oh, Clark's lying again, but it's not a full like
it is
conviction.
But remember, it's funny because he's basing his reality on a dream that he had when he was in a coma. So he's making a decision based on a dream that he had. So I don't know. This is a turning point maybe in his mind. Like he didn't want to wake up. He wanted to live in this life where it was, he had this life. But then when Lana dies and then when he wakes up and, his father, for whatever reason, wanted to have this surgery. In a way, I sort of was like, I'm glad my father made this decision. Because I don't think, that's what conflicted me. Because I think Lex would have been like, I'd rather just die than wake up and be like paralyzed from my neck down.
Not to try to be funny, but that's what Santa was doing on the side of the building.
Yeah,
because no one believed in him, so he was gonna end it. But that scene with Lionel, I mean, you guys did such a good job. And I really liked the way that it was like props to the people who edited, because a lot of times they want to kill moments. They want to snip them out to save time. But you were so patient in your performance and Glover was so happy. You know what I mean? And a little bit quicker. And those two things were really great. And the way they edited it allowed the viewer to see that.
Yeah.
And they let it breathe a little bit. And that doesn't always happen. So I was happy about that.
In contrast to the dark hospital environment, we cut to the Kents in a warm and cozy Christmas party as Lana and Clark admire their first white Christmas. Closing thoughts. It now seems that Lex sees no upside in the virtuous life, as he believes that will only lead to the pain and hurt from losing his closest loved ones. But by doing this, he's choosing to deny himself joys in life that make him truly happy. I think this is a brilliant way to show the motivation for Lex's turn to heal.
I wonder, Bryce, you brought up a good point that I hadn't thought about, this being such a turning point, and I'm kind of looking forward to the next number of episodes to see if this resonates, or if there's actually, you can see it in Lex or Michael's performance, that he's going to remember this, or if we just kind of reset. I don't know.
Well, what I'm trying to think of now is like, he still pursues a relationship with Lana. So like, why?
Yeah.
Why does he, if he thinks that'll kill her?
But think about it. He probably, instead of going with it and really trying to be good and vulnerable and all that, he knows subconsciously that it's going to end. She's going to leave me like everyone else leaves me. It's going to end badly. I know how this ends. So it's sort of just being in the moment, but knowing deep down this can't ever work. And I'm destined to be alone. And that's a sad place to be. You're not giving life an opportunity. You're not giving yourself a chance to be happy. You're resigning to the fact that this is how it's supposed to be. So
betterhelp.com/talkville.
Yeah.
So as it goes forward, the relationship between Lex and Lana just becomes an understanding, at least on Lex's side. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Okay.
It says, what is the right choice?
A partnership, a business relationship.
Well, what is the right choice Lillian was hinting at that would make Lex's dream a reality, just leaving Luthor Corp? Now, I think that she was saying, like, I know Lana dies, but you would be a good person. You would be loved. You could love. That's the main thing. Like going down this other path, you could feel love. You could love back. But this other path you've chosen is a one-way street towards being unloved and, incapable of love. So I think it's more about, if you go through life without ever loving or being loved or feeling love, you've lost. And that's, I think, what she was going for. And it says, do you blame Lionel Luthor for his decisions here? If anything, he seems to be doing right by his son. I personally, I think people are very brave. I mean, look at Christopher Reeve. He was paralyzed and he did more for then than before when he wasn't paralyzed. You could do a lot and you could live a good life. And it is hard. Who knows how hard that is? I can't imagine. But if people had the choice, I'm not sure people would take that choice, though.
I just think it's good storytelling. I mean, I didn't expect Lionel to say no. And the fact that he did was just good, was also good TV. I mean, we already hate him anyway. So I didn't see him saying no. I thought it would be some version of yes. But
interesting things to note. Smallville's first Christmas episode. Dr. Litvak and Scanlon are named after production members. The owners of the farm in Langley, BC make a cameo during the Kent's holiday party. All right, we're here with ThomasTomTurner, the leaf blower Turner. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how you guys doing out there?
Doing great. We're going over LEXMAS now. It was an emotional ride. We're all like, it was definitely one of the better episodes, and it was different. Yeah. What were your thoughts on LEXMAS?
Well, hold on, real quick. Can I ask you this? Is it Thomas the leaf blower because you're a leaf blower, or is it because mostly when we record, Michael's landscapers show up and they're leaf blowing behind in the background?
No, it was Thomas the leaf blower because way back in season 2, I asked a question about a leaf blower in one of the episodes, and then you guys said, "Call yourself Thomas the leaf blower. That way we'll always remember you."
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So it's a few seasons later. I think I'll just go by my like username from everything else instead. So back to ThomasTomTurner.
First real question is, what got you into Smallville? We always ask that question.
Ever since I was like 3, I've always loved superheroes. Like it kind of started with like Power Rangers and then superhero cartoons and comic books. And then Smallville came around at the right time. Like I was like into superheroes. I was a teenager. And so just that blend that the WB did at the time just worked out perfectly. And so I saw it was on. It was like season 5 at the time, and I wanted to start from the beginning. So we had only one guy in my whole high school seemed to have the DVDs. So like we all had to share and borrow the DVDs from him. So I had to like wait. I would like watch all season 1 and have to wait for someone else to finish season 2 so then I could watch season 2.
Wow.
But yeah, eventually I got caught up and it was fun. It was the best show forever.
So why is it that you still love Smallville? What is it about the show?
Oh, it definitely stands the test of time. As we're doing this rewatch right now, I can totally tell that it holds up in a lot of spots. And it is just, I feel like it kind of, like you guys always say, it's kind of the one that started it all for superhero TV shows. So like, this is kind of like the, one of the first best, I would say. And it's just amazing after all these years.
Have you met anyone in your life who hasn't seen it and that you brought into it and you watch it with now?
Yeah, my wife, actually, when we were dating, I gave her Smallville to watch and she gave me some of her shows to watch. So it was a nice little trade-off. And now she's also like a huge fan. Like,
what did she give you to watch? Do you remember anything that she gave you to watch? Was it Sex and the City? Or?
No. Thankfully, she's an anime nerd. She gave me Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Korra. So that was that show turned out to be great. Cool. So I'm glad that worked out.
Nice.
And you said you guys are about to have a baby. That sounds great.
We did have a baby. Yeah, our daughter was born back in December. So hopefully, when she gets to the right age, we can introduce Smallville to her, and we can rewatch it all over again through her eyes.
I love it. I love it. What is what was it about LEXMAS? I mean, how did you feel? What were your feelings throughout? How did it impact you?
A little all over the place, especially doing this rewatch now. Like just rewatching it the other day for the first time as a father. Now that whole birthing scene at the end was kind of scary. I'm so glad that we had a much better experience with that in our lives. But this episode overall, I really love the B story with Santa and Clark trying to deliver presents. Like I always love when they mix Santa Claus in with superhero stuff. And it was like holy cow, like what the heck, Santa? But then also the whole Lex Lana storyline. I feel like it's pretty crazy how this is kind of like a preview of what we're going to see in season 6 when Lana and Lex get together. Spoilers for those who might be watching for the first time for next season. And then also just kind of how we get to see this whole like kind of what if scenario with them. And you didn't really see a lot of that back then. You kind of see it now a lot of times today with multiverses and whatnot.
Lex's son looked a lot like Clark and less like Lex.
Kind of. I mean, it's hard because he has a nice lot of hair and Lex not so much. So,
but remember, Lex lost his hair in the meteor shower. So Lex,
it's true, but he was a redhead though.
He was a redhead. Again, Lana's a brunette. So,
Yeah. It's interesting how at the end of this episode, he kind of chooses to keep running in the election because in a way, it's kind of like he's doing it to save Lana because he thinks otherwise, she'll die 7 years later from childbirth. So,
I never thought about
that. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, he's got like these kind of ulterior motives. He seems really bad on the outside, but maybe there's some good in him, kind of for the right reasons for Lana.
Oh, so it's like if he can get the Senate seat, become more powerful, then in 7 years when this happens, he'll be able to be in a situation where he could help more. Oh, I didn't thought about that.
Maybe.
Well, maybe there's something about it. Like you said, maybe that dream stays with him for a long time. And when things start to evolve with Lana, he's like, is this becoming a reality? But I know the inevitable. And, that's kind of crazy to think. But
I feel like this dream really kind of drove Lex for like a lot of season 6. So
do you understand why he, at the end, he decides saying, I got to take care of myself. It's all about power and money, and I'm going to control my own destiny. Do you understand why he did that?
Not entirely. I guess I always kind of, again, just thought it was kind of like in a way, just a weird way he wanted to save Lana. But, I guess he always wants to control his own destiny too. So I guess he kind of wants to fight against like what was just presented before him in a way.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was definitely a crazy experience for me, and I talked about that earlier, doing an episode like this, and I was excited about doing an episode like this, and there's really nothing like it in Smallville. It's a standalone in terms of like, you'll never see Lex that vulnerable or that living that sort of life, and it was kind of bittersweet, or I don't know. It was sad to see that, this is a life he could have had. And he's not going to take that life.
It's a great standalone episode. Like every Christmas, like every December, I'd rewatch like certain Christmas movies, like Christmas Vacation or Christmas Story, Elf. But I would also sneak in LEXMAS every now and then too. And like without watching what comes before and after, really, it's a nice little just extra Christmas treat.
Well, we appreciate you coming on here and being such a great patron. What do you like about being a patron?
It's nice to kind of get back to you guys after so long, when you guys inspired us for so long. I mean, 7 and 10 years for you guys. It's pretty amazing that all this time later that, we still hold on to Smallville, as we say, and we have a chance to interact with you guys and give back.
Are you going to try and go to the Smallville Con for Creation in October?
Yeah. It's only a 6-hour drive. I currently have a ticket in a hotel, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Probably be there.
Wow.
I love it. Well, the first thing you got to do is come up and say, I'm Thomas Leafblower.
I think you're one of our top people who call in, and I really like that. It's my favorite part of the podcast when people call in. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, I always try to think of a good question every now and then, but sometimes I get stumped and can't come up with anything. So,
hey, you're the best, Tom. We appreciate you. Keep rocking it out. Thanks for the support. We love you.
Thanks, guys.
Hello.
Al, are you asleep?
No, I'm not. I'm actually in LA.
You're in LA. Well, you're on Talkville. And we just watched an episode where we all love the episode, and that was LEXMAS, and we had to call you quickly and talk to you about it.
Yes, that's a great episode.
It really is. It just there, and we had a patron on the show who was talking about how, if this dream, Lex thought this dream could be a reality, or if later on when Lex and Lana's relationship starts to take off, does Lex kind of, this would be obviously subtext, but does he think, I can never live this life. I know ultimately Lana's going to leave me, or she's going to die, or something. This dream's going to come true, and ultimately, that's why he chose a darker path. Like, I have to take care of myself. The only thing I could look out.
Also let Al know it's the only episode you had nothing bad to say.
It's the only episode I had nothing bad to say. I loved it. All three of us loved it. We gave it 3 roses. And why did you feel it was a great episode. What do you think it did for Smallville?
Well, I think it's again, it was, as I may have told you guys earlier, season 5 was we thought this was going to be the last season of the show, so we kind of took all the big ideas we had and kind of threw them in this season. And one of them was, what if Lex had gone down a different path? It's a sliding doors, It's a Wonderful Life, episode, but it has kind of, a darker thing because, Lex, had, in some ways by season 5, his choices have been made. Like, he's laid the path for where he's going. So it's very, so I think this one, it's kind of bittersweet, but it's a way to see, this could have been the life he had, but there's kind of a tragic inevitability to where he's going, is that he will, end up alone and kind of darkly tragic. I mean, I think that's, and that's what's always made, I think the reason that this Lex Luthor and your performance has stood out is because you've gotten to watch this journey and you're rooting for somebody who's going to be the villain and what he's going to become, but there's hope that maybe he'll make a different decision and do it and take a different choice, and also I think it's the thing with Lex's journey is it's not all on Lex. Had the Kents been more honest with him, Jonathan Kent made very specific choices and decisions about who he thought Lex was, that in some ways, if he had been more open-minded and been more compassionate, that could have changed things. Obviously, Lionel and what happened with your brother, which we saw in Memoria, that changed things. Like you've had these tragic moments, but you've also had times where people, if they had trusted you, it could have gone a different way.
Yeah. No, I agree. Do you think, when you first watched this, were you surprised by reading the episode and then watching it, how everything came together? I mean, the look of the show, the cinematography, the lighting, all these things just really popped in this episode. It just was like, I don't know, when you first saw the episode, were you blown away?
It's one of the, and again, it's when they work, and that when it worked on the page, it worked in the cut, the performances were great, the direction was great. Who directed that episode? I don't even remember.
Rick Rosenthal.
Oh, interesting. Okay. No, it all just worked, and that's, as you know, and when you're making 22 episodes of television, you have some that click, and that one, really did. But it clicked from the script. Like that was just an incredibly strong concept. And I think coming, in season 5, when the audience had all of this history with Lex, you also had loaded the bases before the episode even started. So I think that was, it was a great episode, and it really, again, gave us some more insight into Lex and provided this kind of sliding doors moment for him, where he could have seen his life going a different way.
Well, Reckoning is coming up. It's in a couple episodes, and that's the 100th episode. And yes. Did you know after the 100th episode that they were going to pick this up for season 6?
We kind of found out before the 100th episode. I remember, I'll tell you why, because we were going up to do that party. We were also going off to shoot the Aquaman pilot. And that, because I think Justice is next season. No. So I think we knew that, and we knew that was a great episode too. It's just, the 100th episode really, because we knew it was coming to Jonathan's death. It's just all of the things that you spend 5 seasons kind of building towards. And that also, that episode also turned out.
How difficult was that when, we'll call you on that episode. I'm not going to bring up Reckoning because there's more. Well, we appreciate this. Are you filming Wednesday right now?
We are. We're on. We're just on a bit of a production hiatus, and then we're going off to promote Beetlejuice, which premieres in a couple weeks.
I'm so pumped, man. I'm so pumped. It looked great.
You guys should go to Dantana's together. And FaceTime me.
Yeah, we got to go eat.
We got to
do a celebratory meal. We love you, Al. It's been a while, but we're going to start bugging you more and more. So be prepared.
All right.
Thanks, Al.
Great to talk to you.
See you, buddy.
Take care.
Bye.
Special episode.
It's time for the hotline, folks. Here we go. We're going to start with videos. Patron privilege. This is Ken the Limerick guy. And let's see what he has to say. I'm sure it's going to be a doozy.
It's Ken the Limerick guy wishing a Merry Lexmas to those who celebrate. When Lex is unconscious, was what he experienced a dream, or was it a vision of a future that he could actually have attained if he'd been willing to give up his political ambitions? If it's the latter, then I think the whole episode has a real air of tragedy about it. What do you guys think?
Great question, Ken. I think, he thinks it's more real than he's sort of, I think that he doesn't want that to happen. But I think, as we get closer to the relationship with Lana, it becomes a reality that maybe my dream was real, and is this going to happen to her? And, but yeah, I think it's whatever you want to think, whatever you want to imagine. It's, and that's what's great about, I call it art, call it whatever, call it TV, but you in your mind think something and it's not wrong. It's what you think. And so that's the great thing about,
I always think it's interesting when musicians, when they're asked what their lyrics mean, and they say, "What does it mean to you?"
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Really what it is.
Here's Adam.
What does it mean to you?
My name is Adam Rodriguez from Torrance, California. This question is for Michael. It has been a delight to watch you ambiguously dance between good and evil, but with an episode like LEXMAS, did a part of you wish he could have ended up good, or was it satisfying to land on his destiny of being evil? Thank you.
I think it's interesting that, we have these brushes with these moments, fleeting moments with potential for Lex to go down the right path. And then ultimately we know inevitably he goes down the wrong path, the dark path. But this is the path that he feels is best for him. And as the hand of fate tries to get in the way sometimes, he fights it. But sometimes I feel like, at this point, he's sort of letting go and saying, hey, this is what's happening with me. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the ride. I enjoy trying to make him likable, trying to make, show that he wants to be good, wants to do good. And ultimately, it's just not in him. So here's Rob. What you got, Rob? It's Ryan. I know it. No.
Hey, it's Rob from Toronto, Canada, and my question is for the Season 5, Episode 9, episode LEXMAS. In this episode, Lex's mother, Lillian, tells Lex that the dream could become a reality if he makes the right choices. So a part of this dream is Jonathan Kent as senator. So considering for what happens a few episodes from now, does that mean if Lex had made the right choices, could he have saved Jonathan's life?
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, he could have. I think that if, he bowed out or, said, you're the best candidate and I'm good Lex now and I'm leaving Luthor Corp and I'm going to try a new life and I'm going to do all these things, a lot of things would have changed. But that wasn't in the cards, I guess.
But it did.
Caroline?
Hi, guys. This is Caroline from Springfield, Missouri. I just watched Season 5, Episode 9, LEXMAS. I got to say, I like it a lot. It kind of gives perspective of what Lex's life could have been had he made better choices. And I think Michael did an excellent job of acting totally confused and not sure where everything was going with his life with Lana. So I just wanted to say thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Caroline. I think it was just the writing and trying to play it vulnerable and trying to play it real and, just bring something to it and let the story speak for itself. And, it was a good story. When you have a good story and you have, you don't have to do too much. You don't have to do too much.
Well, what we don't see, what's not revealed to us is what are the good choices that Lex made in order to wake up in that bedroom with Lana. Like there wasn't that scene of him saying, you know what, Dad, I'm not living this way. I'm going my own path. I guess that's just, you just assume that, but we don't know what those good choices are.
Yeah. But I think the beginning stages would be getting rid of Luthor Corp and starting over and just saying, hey, I want a different life and I want to try something else. I want to be good. I want to work on, I want to remove myself from this persona. And, that's probably the chance he took. That's what he did. The expose, all the stuff, denouncing Luthor Corp and his father, which ultimately made his father turn on him. But, who knows?
Hey, Michael, Tom, and Ryan. This is Brianna from Texas. Question, do you all think Lex had always harbored feelings for Lana from the beginning, and by having this out-of-body experience in Dream, he only then realized that he really, really had some deep personal feelings for Lana and just didn't act on them because Clark and her were together? Thank you.
I don't know. I had a sex dream about this girl once, and it was a great dream, but I never thought about this girl ever, and I never wanted to be with her. I never wanted to go out with her. I never did go out with her, but for some reason she popped in my head and it was a sex dream. So,
Well, usually things in your dream represent other things than what they visually
Sure. But what I'm saying is, has he thought of Lana? Sure. I'm sure it was somewhere inside of him that says, wow, I don't know what it is, but this girl, but she's with Clark and I can't do that. But yeah, maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe he, did imagine, wow, if I can meet a woman like Lana who's strong and sweet and kind and doesn't have ulterior motives, maybe if I meet someone like that one day, things will be different. So I don't know, man.
Well, Lana always follows her heart. She's got a lot of integrity, and she's sort of like a lighthouse in stormy seas. It's something you can always turn to. And I think Lex has nothing even close to that in his life. So she probably stands out.
Hi, this is Shelby from Utah. Wanted to give a quick question for season 5, episode 9, LEXMAS. Finally, we can say that Lex is in love with Lana or has loved Lana, but I know you've denied it before in other seasons, that it's just friendly, things like that. So at what point do you think that changed? Thanks.
I think, he's enamored by her and, has a lot of respect for her and there's an attraction, but at this point, I don't believe he thinks he's going to get Lana or he's really on a quest to get her. But does he have feelings for her? Sure.
Hey, this is Irene from Pittsburgh. So I love the idea of having Clark be Santa and doing all of the deliveries for the presents. However, he's clearly not going to be going through the chimney. So the only way that he could get in is through the front door. Is he just breaking locks at every house that he goes to? Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, probably. Tom, is that what you're doing?
It's a good point. In just listening to that question, I wonder if Clark figured out a way to run so fast he could go through walls, but then that's not something we ever discussed. So yeah, as Bryce put in, it's breaking and entering all night. Yeah.
All right, here's a text message from little Lisa. Hello, little Lisa. That scene in the hospital of Lex by Lana's side telling her he has always loved her was such a touching and heartbreaking scene. How did you get so deep and emotional to an emotional place in that moment when filming it? Just watching her eyes fill up and her being in the moment always helps me. When an actor is committed, it helps me commit. So it makes it easier. Kristen B, after Lex makes the decision, you can see his mother's spirit fading away in the background. Do you think this is a good part of Lex fading away from her? Yeah, I think it's like, the voice in his head is now just going away for good. And it's like, he's letting all this go and going down his own path. Mitch, is this the favorite holiday themed filming you've been a part of? If not, what is? I would have to say yes. Tom, have you ever been on a holiday themed filming or film set besides this one?
Not that I recall, but I might be wrong. But I just don't. Nothing comes to mind. I didn't think about that.
I did an episode in the Justice League Unlimited where Flash brings presents for the kids, and people love that episode. I forgot what it was called, but that was one on the voice side. But Rosenbaum rating system. Now here we go. We're going to start out with Ryan.
With me?
Honestly, when you watch this, what'd you think? Out of all the episodes we've watched.
I mean, it did a lot of things. It was integral to the story, and then it was also a nice little side quest of Christmas. And it was like, it also had like that kind of vibe, but they really leaned in like the hallmarkiness of it. And then they also brought it back to like a grim reality of Smallville. I am tempted to go 2.5.
2.5 roses for Ryan Tez with the Christmas hat, Santa hat. Tom Welling.
I think this is just it's such a great episode and in so many ways. And even talking to Thomas the Leaf Blower, how it can stand alone and really create an interest. And I think if you showed people this episode, they would get interested in the series. I'm going to make it a little weird. And Bryce, if I'm allowed to do this, I'm going to give it a 2.75.
2.75 for Tom. I love this episode. It's hard for me to judge since I was like the main player, I guess, in this, the story about me. So it's hard to.
But the Lex centered episodes they do a lot. Like there's been like 2 this season.
I love this episode. I think it was important to the series, and it was a really cool what if. It's a wonderful life kind of feel. I mean, I got to go at least 2.5 roses. I'm going to go 2.5 roses.
Wow.
Well, I'm not going to give it a 3 because I just can't. I look kind of like.
I thought I'd get 3s. That's crazy.
Really? I think it warrants that. I just.
Like,
you know
what?
I'm going to give it a 3.
Means it's the best and nothing else can be that good. I just think it's like a different tier.
I'm going to go 3. I think Bryce is right. I'm going to go 3 just for me because it was an episode that I could easily watch again. Everybody was great. It was a great story. It was shot
All right.
great.
Well, then I'm going 3 because I don't want to hear about how I didn't go 3 and you went 3 for the first time ever. I'm going 3.
Just go 2.75.
Oh, 3s for everyone.
All right, we're changing. We're going 3s.
Bryce,
I didn't want to say 3 unless somebody else did. But
It's the middle of August, and we're feeling
I'll go
Christmassy.
3. Death and save count: 0 dead, 2 saved. Clark saves Santa. Lionel saves Lex. 9 episodes, 20 dead, 19 saved. 156 dead in the series. 166 saved. Ryan's favorite scene. This is going to be tough, I think.
Whoa. That'd be tough.
Yeah. All right. So, scene 1, Lex waking up in his alternate reality. Scene 2, Clark saves Santa. Or scene 3, the last scene where Lex wants money and power.
Oh, those are tough choices. I thought you were going to say putting the car seat in the car. I'm going to go with your third choice because I think that changes everything for Lex and the show.
I agree with you. I'm going to go 3.
It is 3.
3, power and money.
Well, it was because it was it kind of brought us back to reality because we had like the Christmas thing and that was all fun but then like it was funny, not funny, but it was interesting to have a lighthearted Christmas episode that ended so dark.
Isn't it nice to watch an episode that you enjoy and talk about it? Mm-hmm. Like, it's always nice when we really like something. Like I didn't have anything bad to say about this episode. I just didn't. I thought,
yeah,
it just was enjoyable from the moment we came on screen to the last moment of the show. It just,
I didn't think about that as we were recording this podcast, but yeah, you didn't have anything negative to say.
I didn't have anything negative to say. And I think it's because the story was so good. There wasn't anything really hokey. Even the Santa stuff, it was fitting. It fit. Everything fit in this show. It was a tight 44 minutes or whatever it is. It was just tight. And the story moved and it all interconnected. That's it for the episode. Stick around next week as we geek out over season 5, episode 10, Fanatic. Let's take the discussion online. Let us know your thoughts on the episode over on our socials at Talkville Podcast or Talkville Pod. Show the support by joining patreon.com/Talkville. And we really need your help. And if you want more info like merch from the show or our hotline number, you can find all that in the description. And we love you. Thank you for being here. Ryan, thanks for wearing the hat.
Happy to. It helped me get in the mood.
Good.
Great episode. We all loved it. I'm glad it
was a great episode. Tom,
made me happy.
This is a rarity.
Proud of you. You did a great job. This is really great. Yeah, this is special. It's a special episode.
Remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville.
And of course, we can't forget our top tier patrons. You guys, I love you. I freaking love you. Thanks for supporting the show. It's crazy how cool you are. Patreon.com/Talkville. What else can I say? I'm going to give the shout outs. Tom's not here, but I'm giving him, darn it. Leanne P, Raj C, Santiago M, ThomasTomTurner, Shane W, Sophie M, BetsyD, Abhi P, Rae H, KarenApple M, 99 more, Laylani N, Brett G, always hold on to Smallville. Estevan G, Charlie T, Garrett W, Bob K, Tom N, Jason W, Osama A, Glenda W, Lana rhymes with banana or Lana W, Nancy D, Brian G. Ryan, why don't you read some names off?
Ooh. YVR Grips, Amanda R, Teddy127, Michael P, Ryan R, Jordan M, Randy B, Craig P.
Craig G.
Neither
Craig
one
G.
of those things that I said.
Yes.
Jor L, Heather and Greg. I made Talkville say
Butts.
Brian H, Eric K, Kristen B, Darth Achilles, Finky. Early is on time. Miss Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm. Damn, who's that?
Mm-hmm.
Jeanette E, Deadvid, General Zod, Theodore, Jam and J, Doug R, Carlos C, Tommy Z, Boston 68, Ken the Limerick Guy, Corey L, Mr. Home Arcade, Jesse C, Claire M, D Brown, KarenApple M, Jules M, Eldon Supremo, Leslie V, Brian P, McBurts, Ginger Moose. Please remember Janice from North Carolina, Christoph S, Michelle M, Amanda Lynn, Jessica B, Sebastian F, Wolfie, Dak Flando, Matthew and Lincoln B, Breyer. Come on. Oh.
Charlene A, Marion Louise L, CGO, Cindy C, Nikki L, Shannon Fofanen, Tina E, Matt Rick. Jen T, Randy S, Cassie B, Brad A, Felicia R, Danny Mo, Mirabal, JS, Mary K, Rachel E, Stephen Nate Danger.
Yes.
When you're rich, you aren't crazy, you're eccentric.
Rosenbaum fan, Sammy Sharman, Carrie Ann, the Alexander Castle, Daryl E, Jenny B76, Anna B, Monica T, Jeffrey K, Pip Kenobi, Katya C, previously on Smallville, Keith B, Cookie K, Justin Patreon, Sade of Smallville, Libertariat, Danny Z from Cleveland, Biagio C, Cal L, 38, Felicia B, Lady J, the Salty Ham, Murphy C, David L, Madison H, Mika J, Tori H, Colonna A, Zeb R, Z, Wicked Stepdad, My Pups Lex, Shelby, Kara, Natalia.
Dr. Jace A.
Yes.
Dr. G and Dr. T, Kryptonite. Dominic D, Brandon C, Ned L, Flirtatious B, Persix, Kurgan K, Hunter, Narman L. These are all very unique, you guys. Gorgeous TV, Smallville for Life, Bobby B, Reese S, Cara C, Pico Del Gato. I'll just finish. Kai WJF, JB, Kendrick F. Happy birthday, Lindsay B.
Yes, we love you. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.